Hi, my name's Athan, and this is Uncommon. What's happening with July in July? Mate, it's our month. It's our month. Last year in July, we
were locked down.
We were in lockdown. We were dying a very slow death, if I can be very honest.
Really?
We were still in lockdown. We were doing almost zero sales. From the beginning of lockdown, we were 95% drop in revenue.
Fuck.
So we're talking like close to zero. And it's funny at that stage, when people talk about percentage growth, like 1,500% growth year on year, but when you're already at zero, the percentages don't mean anything. It reminds me, like my dad used to say when I turned 18, he's like, I'll double whatever you have for your first car. Whatever money you've got, I'll double it.
Mm-hmm.
And then he like looks at me with a laugh and says, do you know what double zero is? Zero, man. You're not getting anything because you don't have anything.
Yeah, right.
So that was his. That's what that reminds me of. We had nothing. So the growth can't even be expressed in percentages because we were literally at $0.
Yeah.
So last July was the lead up to that July. We had decided that we were going to expand internationally.
The lead up to it. So how long ahead are we talking?
I think we were in March, April. We said like, we're running out of money. We need to do something.
Yeah.
So we had just launched the carry-on light, which was the lightest double-wheel carry-on in the world, at 1.8 kilos. This was part of our like something to do during COVID, launch new product. We got a lot of press for it. It was a really, really good product, really, really good launch, great creative. All the things were really nice for it, but obviously not that many sales. So we're like, okay, well, we got the PR success for this thing. What do we do with it? Now that we're not selling in Australia, everyone's mandated lockdown. We can't leave the country. No one's traveling. What do we do? So we looked at other budget airlines. I'm giving you the long story, by the way. This is the extended. Right? So, we looked at other budget airlines. We knew like Europe was a big budget airline travel industry and they like light luggage. They really want something super light as they're flying Ryanair and EasyJet so they don't have to pay anymore than their €50 trip between Athens and Brussels. So we were like, okay, we're going to launch in the UK. We'd spent like 2-3 weeks briefing the team, UK. Let's get this done.
Yeah.
And on our way to lunch, we're having accessory Japanese down in Collingwood.
Love that place.
It's killer, right? And on our way there, with like reading the news, UK goes into further lockdowns, like stricter lockdowns that they can't travel anymore. We're not going to do that.
Yeah.
We're not going to launch in the UK only to be met with more trouble. So within that lunch, we decided we were just going to flip to the US and spend the last of our money launching in the US for one big hurrah.
Yeah.
And just hope for the best.
And it worked.
Well, yeah, it worked, right? So we did July 1, lots of PR, lots of media, lots of product. We did whatever we could to make it work. And that July, I mean, we smashed it. The Americans love the product.
They love shit. They love to spend money.
They love to spend. Well, they love spending it on us at that particular period. It gave us a revenue boost. It gave us a confidence boost. July has always been a significant month for us because it's always the month that we like to do. We'll either do a promo or it just feels like a significant holiday month. I mean, the business was named after people traveling in that month.
Yeah.
So it's always had a strong symbolism of growth and luck. Last year in particular, extremely lucky.
Yeah.
So we launched July 1 in the US and it took off and arguably survived the business through the revenue, through the momentum. Australia opened up. It just felt like it was win after a couple of years of really big losses. So you ask me now what's going to happen in July. I don't know. I don't know, but I feel good about it. Whatever it is, whatever we come up with.
Okay.
I feel really, really good about it because it's a special month for us. Something magical always happens in July.
It's good to know though that, and this is the reality of it sometimes, is that when you're playing catch up and you're running a business that moves fast in multiple ways, whether it's up or down, that, you don't have to you can't ever have a 12-month type plan ahead of what you're doing for that month, so to speak. It's like, it's May. We should probably start thinking about July.
It's a bit like that.
Yeah.
It's a bit like that.
So when we think about the US, what were the ducks in a row in hindsight that you think you had to get sorted that gave you some element of success, which launched into what it has become? Was it the PR, the marketing, and something else? What were the most important components?
There was a lot of ambiguity around what we should do for launch. We'd written a really, I would say like a light but solid plan on what we should be focusing on. PR was definitely one of the biggest drivers for us. It's one of those things where you can say, oh, look, it was an overnight success in the US only because we had spent 3 years developing product.
Yeah.
And so we had the product range, we had the color range, we had the marketing, we had the PR backing, we had all these things in place for them to go into the US and feel like it was I wouldn't say very easy, but it feels like it worked in that July 1 launch. If I could put it back to anything, it's the fact that the product and the marketing were in sync, and it was attuned to what the Americans were looking for. We were going into a climate where people wanted to travel again. They were coming off like the incumbents who were already there and established, and probably and not as innovative in the sense of a product change. They were looking for something a bit different, and I think we provided that for them at the right time.
Yeah, right.
So we, on top of
timing of it.
The timing of it, everything works for a reason, I guess, in that sense. We were very lucky in that sense. But the product was great. The personalization, they loved. Yeah. The fact that we do multilingual personalization as well. So, for the Latino community, they could write theirs in Spanish. We have Chinese characters. Anyone with Romanized characters can actually personalize in their language. So you can do Romanian if you want. French, Italian, things like that. So personalization was a big play for us over there, and it worked really, really well to the point where we were shipping product from Australia. So we were almost losing money on every product.
Yeah. So that was a question I had around the US is, so when you first launch a new market like that, you've obviously got to have your PR, like you said. So I don't know if you used Kate Dinnan for that market as well, or if it was a different PR firm, but
she's amazing.
You got to have a PR firm. You got to have your marketing and a specific landing page for US clients only. So I'm sure there were some adjustments there that needed to be made internally. Then there's the supply chain element, which because you guys do a lot of the last mile personalization and stuff like that. So you make it over in China, it comes local, that's done there, and then you ship it. How did you do that with the US market?
Yeah, we assemble in China. We obviously make products in other areas as well. And the materials from those products come from all over the world.
Yeah.
And when it comes to warehousing and logistics, it's a similar global mix. It can go, we do 3PL out of Asia. We do 3PL out of the US as well now. We do 3PL in Australia, and we also do some last mile delivery ourselves.
Okay, so I'm assuming you used Asia for the 3PL.
Well, it just depends, right? Especially for you're asking specifically for the US.
Yeah.
We tried to send as much product there as we could.
Yeah.
But there's also a limit to how much you can send and service the market without knowing the growth, without having any data to back it up. So it was a test for us. It was like, let's send as much as we can, let's launch as quickly as we can, and see how well the market responds to that kind of stuff. And it did so well that we ended up just defaulting and shipping from Australia in the end anyway. So there's not much you could do on that. And we could just keep shipping product to the US, but it takes 2 months. Shipping containers take a long time and they're expensive at the moment. Yeah. So there's a lot of mixed things that resulted in that. At the end of the day, behind the curtain is always a bit messy while you're figuring things out.
Yeah.
But from the front, we were really glad to see the demand.
So you guys went over, you and Rich and your families went over for a nice family trip to America recently?
No family, no, just Rich and I.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought the family went over as well.
I met my family in Singapore afterwards.
Ah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. So what have you done infrastructure-wise to set up in the US?
So we set up, we formally set up warehousing over there to make things a lot easier.
Yeah.
Streamlining, just shipping and processes and things like that. And then we just met a few people. I actually just wanted to go to the US and hang out a little bit.
Okay.
So no, I mean, we went to New York. We had a great dinner. We had some great Greek restaurant that mate Aaron introduced me to, Kiki's in Chinatown. There's an old laundromat in Chinatown.
Yeah, right.
Which is quite cool. What else did we do? I mean, we hung out. We met some absolute great people, potential investors.
It's got a vibe in the market.
Good e-commerce people. A lot of Aussies who have moved there.
Yeah.
Doing really well over there in e-com and services and just branding and product. There's just a vibe over there. Especially LA and New York, there's just Aussies who are doing things.
Yeah. It's like I've had this conversation with friends around like Sydney, they feel is like a very entrepreneurial city. Like a lot of friends have moved to Sydney for that, and then they go and then move to LA and they say it's another world. There's a very, you know what I mean? There's that vibe. They can't describe it. I've not been there, so I couldn't say what it is, but yeah.
The hustle is real
The hustle.
in LA. Yeah, it's great. It's a beautiful place.
Yeah.